Well, here we are. This is my podcast test. I want to see exactly how dumb I look or sound, probably very. It's very awkward to sit in front of a camera and speak. I'm sure everyone knows that. Don't you remember doing your presentations in school? And they would say, oh, your presentation needs to be 3 minutes long. And you'd write it and make all your little props. Then you'd practice it and it was 30 seconds. Well, that's kind of how this is. Who knows? Could be 5 minutes, could be 3 hours. I can talk. So, I'm looking at myself while I do this, which is very disturbing. And you may be wondering, what's up with these huge plants? They're everywhere. Look behind me. So one of my hobbies is doing hydroponic growing, which is a ton of fun. And no, I'm not growing weed yet. But I have a great time doing it, and I get lots of nice fresh veggies and flowers and whatnot. And these are 3 huge bell pepper plants that are doing just gorgeous. There's even some flowers on there, which means I'm going to have peppers soon, very soon. Some of my other hobbies are knitting, which I love. I don't do it enough. I've been waiting for like 2 weeks for my sweater sleeves to knit themselves, and yet there they sit. I have one sleeve done. I have one about to here, and last night I worked on it some, and I'm working and working, and it doesn't seem to ever get longer, but I'll get there. And once that's done, I just have to edge the neck, and then I have a new sweater. So speaking of sweaters, that's the last thing on earth you need here in South Florida. A little bit about me: I live in Key Largo, which is the top Florida key, just below Miami and Homestead. It's hot. It's so hot. I can't begin to tell you how hot. A sweater is not something I normally need. I have made this pattern before. It's called Tomato, and you'll find it on Ravelry. And I've actually made it twice. And what I've found is the pattern itself calls for like a cap sleeve, just about like this actually, a nice little cap sleeve. And then the sweater is, I made a V-neck because I prefer it. It's a scoop neck sweater and just plain to the bottom. But what I found is if it's cold enough for me to wear a sweater, I really need sleeves because I'm actually cold. Otherwise it's just too hot here, even to wear a sleeveless sweater. It's hot. It's balls hot. Can I say balls hot? Because it's balls hot. We get a couple months out of the year here where it's not so balls hot. That's about the temperature. And then in the summer and fall and spring, it's just boiling. So obviously we spend a lot of time indoors in air conditioning. That's what the sweaters are good for. When you go to a restaurant or any place like that, it's so cold. It's bone-chilling cold. You just can't believe it. So I like to have a couple of nice things that I've made. I also have some cowls that I can just throw on to keep warm in a movie or something. And I make hats. And I do travel north to my hometown, up to New York. Shout out to everybody in Binghamton. And for there, you definitely need some warm clothes. At least I do. I've been here, I think, 14 years. I think this is my 14th year, as a matter of fact. And I'm acclimated, for sure. I think I'm actually part lizard at this point, because when I go north, everything just dries up. My lips crack, and everything's miserable, and my skin gets all dry, and oh my God. And all I think is that I need to be back here immediately in the 80% humidity. And actually, you see me flicking my eyes over. I just saw a hummingbird land, and there's not even a feeder there. He's just chilling out there. So yeah, I'm definitely acclimated. So as soon as I'm in weather that's 50 degrees, 60 degrees, I'm cold. Cold, no joke cold. Plug in the electric blanket, cold. That's just the way it is. So I do make a lot of things for myself. I'm a very selfish knitter. If I've ever knit you something, I must love you a ton because it takes a really long time. If I've knit you a blanket, I don't even know. I'm trying to think if I have. I think once ever I knit a blanket for my friend who's a dive master who was having a baby, and I did it on the diagonal. It's called grandmother's washcloth. something like that. All it is a diagonal. Start with 2 stitches and get bigger. and then get smaller. And I did it in the design of a dive flag. That is, I believe, the one and only blanket I've ever knitted. I like to crochet blankets because it goes quickly, but knitting is like, oh, you've got to be kidding. So big. I just recently did a project it's not big, it's like this big. A tiny little like shawl, little triangle shawl about like this. And it started at the tip and just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I thought, oh my God, thank God this is not for an adult, because there's no way I would have kept going until it was like this long. My friend Tori, however, is a shawl queen. And not only will she knit something that wide, she'll pick out a row that long in lace. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm some kind of professional knitter. I've been doing it for, well, I moved here 15 years. It's probably going on 20 years, I'd say. About 20 years. I love it. It's fun. I like to experiment with different things, but I'm no pro. If I don't know how to do something, I can teach myself and I can teach others. But, you know, I don't claim to be any kind of guru. Everybody has their thing, their specialties. So I do love to knit very much. I love to crochet. My friend Yvette taught me that. She's in my Tuesday night stitching club, which meets at Starbucks in Key Largo, Tuesdays at 5:30. If you're in town, please come see us. And we've been meeting there for 10 years, which I love. I think it's great. Different people, of course, in the beginning, but we still meet and we have a great time. So Yvette finally taught me really how to crochet. I knew how to do it, but everything came out like this. I could crochet a lovely parallelogram, but yeah, or a rhombus, but nothing ever came out square until she taught me really how to do it correctly. So I'm thrilled that she did, because now I can make some gorgeous blankets and things that I love. I also do some lazy crafts. I do machine knitting. So I have an Addy machine that I'm surprised most people have not heard of. I love it. It definitely has limited uses, but it's great for making blankets, scarves, hats, quick, very quickly. It's great for blowing through your stash when you're trying to get rid of some yarn. You know, when you find that one skein of yarn, oh my God, I have to have it. And then you realize there's nothing you can do with that one skein of yarn. So you can make yourself a hat or a cowl or a scarf on the machine, and you can do it quick. So if you're instant gratification, like I seem to be, it's a fun thing to do. I sew, you know, pretty good, I'd say. Better than beginner, but not, you know, great, not awesome. I've done a few quilts. I've done some pants, you know, like PJ pants, very basic stuff. I have a very basic machine that is great for me, but I enjoy learning new things on it, and I'm really trying to master the patterns. You know, those paper patterns that when you unfold them, it's like you're trying to unfold the New York Times in the wind. It's just everywhere, and oh my God. So I'm trying to master that so that I can actually use a pattern correctly, cut it correctly, cut the fabric facing the right way, sew it the right way. I mean, every time I sew, I feel like the last instruction should be sew together, you know, sew together. Oh, look at it, it's wrong. Pick it all apart again and again until you do it right. So that's my sewing. I do hope to perfect it. My goal this year was actually to perfect my sewing and my weaving, which I wouldn't say I did. So I think that might be my goal next year. I did at the very beginning of the year take a weaving class with my friend Tori. I got a free weaving loom from my friend Jan in California. Hi Jan. Who was so generous, knew that I was looking to learn how to weave, and had a friend who was not using his loom anymore, and she sent it to me for free. A 10-inch cricket, which I love. Oh my God, it's fun. And then Tori went to the class with me. We went to Sheep Thrills in Fort Lauderdale. And we both took a beginner class, how to weave, how to warp the loom, how to do everything. And then she bought, subsequently, she ended up with 2 looms. So I did do a little bit of weaving this year, but it does require, man, it requires some time. You gotta be feeling pretty good, because there's a little work involved in doing the warping, the part where you put the base yarn onto the loom. Man, it takes forever. I think it does, because I'm slow probably. But, I mean, you're walking and walking and walking. I'll show you. One day I'll do a video and I'll just point it at my counter where I do my warping, and I'll show you how it works and exactly what it is. And then you'll know by the end of the video if it's something you'll like to do. But once you're done with that, yeah, mine is small. I mean, mine's like, yay big. I can put it right on my lap and just weave, weave, weave all I want while I'm sitting and watching TV. So you'd be amazed at how fast you get something like a scarf. Mine is good for scarves because it's like this wide when all is said and done. You're amazed at how fast it goes because every time you do a row, it's like you've stitched, I don't know, 30 stitches, except it goes done, done, instead of knit, 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 knit. So it's another fun craft. And I mean, who knows how many more? I don't know. I got a thing for crafts. I've done like bath bombs and my own lotions and hand creams and. I'll think of more while I'm sitting here, I guarantee. But those are some of the things I enjoy that I thought you might enjoy seeing or hearing about. Or not. I don't know what to say. I try really hard not to curse. Oh, not in real life. I curse all the time. But for the sake of a video, I'm going to try. Oh, I'm going to try so hard. I'm also going to try not to throw politics into things. But you can probably guess where my leanings are. I should also say that if you wonder why I'm home all the time, dinking around with knitting and with podcasting and so forth, it is because I have a physical disability that is not obvious, so you just need to guess what it is. It could be I only have half a brain, probably. I don't need to go into detail, but the fact is that I do, and so that enables me to be home more than most people. And so I use that time to be creative, to give, to donate, to round up money for charities, to do whatever I can do, because I feel while it's difficult to have an illness, it's a blessing to have the time. And I want to use that to its greatest advantage. There's not much more about me. I'm 48. I appreciate if you tell me that I don't look 48, despite this unbelievably gray hair, which I clearly need to color soon. I think that's it for today. I just wanted to test things out and see how they looked and see how they sounded. And the next time I'll take you on a little tour of, well, I don't know, maybe my craft room, maybe my plants. We'll see. So I appreciate that you watched. I really do. And I hope you have a great day. Take care.